It was supposed to be a simple, uneventful morning. The sun illuminated the city streets, people hurried to work, phones buzzed with messages, and life continued its predictable routine. At the Grand Central Bank, employees prepared for another busy day, serving clients, processing transactions, and offering polite but mechanical smiles. No one imagined that today, something would unfold within those walls that no one would ever forget. A moment that would challenge assumptions, expose arrogance, and leave everyone present in absolute silence. The story begins with Mr. Harold Bennett, a 76-year-old man known in his neighborhood for his kindness, quiet strength, and dignified presence. He was a retired school teacher, a man who had spent decades shaping young minds and living with integrity. Harold wasn't wealthy by the standards of the world, but what he had earned, he had saved carefully, trusting his bank to safeguard his hard-earned money. That morning, Harold walked into the bank he had used for over 30 years. He wore his usual flat cap and neatly pressed jacket, carrying a small leather wallet and a folded piece of paper with the amount he planned to withdraw written in his own handwriting. It was a simple transaction. He needed cash to cover some unexpected home repairs and to buy a birthday gift for his granddaughter. But sometimes, life's simplest requests reveal the deepest injustices. As Harold approached the counter, he was greeted by a young bank teller named Andrew. Andrew had joined the bank recently. He was sharp-suited, ambitious, and believed that success came from power, control, and knowing when to look down on others. Andrew glanced at Harold, barely disguising his disinterest. "Yes?" Andrew said flatly. Harold smiled politely and handed him his bank card and identification. "Good morning, son. I'd like to make a withdrawal from my account, please." Andrew processed the card, his eyes fixed on the screen. His brow furrowed as he reviewed the account. "How much are you looking to withdraw today?" he asked, already sounding inconvenienced. $5,000, Harold replied, still calm. Andrew's expression changed. He leaned back, crossed his arms, and stared at Harold with thinly veiled suspicion. "I'm going to need to verify some additional information. This is a large cash withdrawal, and with today's security protocols, it might take longer." "That's fine," Harold said, maintaining his patience. Andrew left the desk briefly and returned with another employee, whispering something inaudible. They exchanged glances, and both seemed amused. Andrew returned to Harold and said, "I'm sorry, but I can't process this withdrawal." Harold blinked in confusion. "Why not? This is my account. I've provided identification, and the funds are available." Andrew smirked. "Unfortunately, we have the right to refuse suspicious transactions. Large cash withdrawals like this are often red flags. Are you sure you understand what you're asking for?" The room quieted. Nearby customers began to listen. Harold remained composed. "Son, I've been with this bank longer than you've been alive. There's nothing suspicious here." Andrew's tone sharpened. "Look, sir, I'm not comfortable processing this. Maybe someone else can help you, but I won't be responsible if something goes wrong. People like you often misunderstand how these things work." Harold's hand tightened around the edge of the desk, but he said nothing. He realized Andrew was speaking not from policy but from prejudice. He wasn't being denied because of procedure. He was being denied because Andrew saw him as insignificant. Old. Weak. Unimportant. The silence stretched. Andrew's arrogance filled the space, believing he had won this silent battle. But Harold wasn't finished. If stories of justice, silent strength, and unexpected reversals inspire you, make sure to subscribe to this channel right now. What Harold did next shocked everyone in that bank, and you won't want to miss how this story unfolds. Harold slowly reached into his coat pocket and pulled out his phone. Calmly, without raising his voice, he dialed a number. On the other end, a voice answered with warmth and familiarity. "Good morning, Mr. Bennett. How can I assist you today?" It was the voice of Margaret Dawson, the regional bank director, and a former student of Harold's from decades earlier. Margaret had often spoken publicly about how Mr. Bennet had changed her life, about how he had been the teacher who believed in her when no one else did. Their connection was deep, built on years of mutual respect. "Margaret," Harold said gently, "I'm here at the Main Street branch. It seems I'm having some difficulty making a withdrawal." There was a brief pause on the line. "Who is assisting you?" she asked, her tone shifting immediately. "His name is Andrew," Harold replied. "He's declined to process my transaction. Please hand the phone to him." Without a word, Harold extended the phone to Andrew, who reluctantly took it, unaware of who he was about to speak to. "This is Andrew," he said, still carrying his dismissive tone. What followed was a brief but intense conversation. Those close enough to hear watched as Andrew's confident posture slowly collapsed. His face turned pale, his voice softened, and his eyes flicked nervously toward Harold. "I understand," Andrew stammered. "Yes, I will take care of it right away." He returned the phone to Harold, who offered him a small, knowing nod. Andrew's hands trembled slightly as he processed the withdrawal, printing the receipt with far more care than before. "I apologize for the inconvenience, Mr. Bennet," Andrew said, avoiding eye contact. Harold thanked him politely, took his cash, and prepared to leave. But before he did, the branch manager arrived, visibly shaken after speaking with Margaret. He offered Harold a formal apology in front of everyone, assuring him that such behavior would not be tolerated. Andrew's fate was sealed. His arrogance had blinded him. He assumed that Harold was just another elderly man with no power, no influence, and no voice. He had no idea that the man he tried to humiliate had once shaped the very person who now held his career in her hands. Within days, Andrew was dismissed from the bank. His record marked by the incident, his reputation damaged beyond repair. Harold never once raised his voice. He never demanded revenge. He simply reminded everyone that true respect is not requested, it is expected. Word of the event spread rapidly across the local community and soon reached national banking circles. News outlets covered the story, not as a tale of confrontation, but as a lesson in humility. Harold became a quiet symbol of resilience and dignity, a reminder that appearances are deceptive and that underestimating someone based on age or circumstance can lead to profound regret. When interviewed later by local journalists, Harold was asked how he remained so calm during the ordeal. He smiled softly and said, "You don't have to be loud to be heard. Sometimes the quietest actions leave the loudest echoes." His words resonated deeply, sparking discussions about age discrimination, respect, and the power of silent strength. Harold continued living his peaceful life, investing in his community, mentoring young people, and spending precious time with his granddaughter, whose birthday gift he purchased that very afternoon. If this story resonated with you, don't let it stop here. Subscribe to this channel right now to hear more stories that challenge, inspire, and reveal hidden truths. Your voice matters. Leave a comment below and tell us what you think about what happened to Elijah. Do you believe justice was served? Also, don't forget to hit the like button to help this story reach more people who need to hear it. Share this video with someone who should know that even in the darkest moments, one phone call can change everything. Your support drives this channel forward. Thank you for being part of this community.